Good morning. Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to another online art reception with Chris Cinder, who you will know, who has his stuff up on the wall right now. It will be here through the month of October when we change out for new stuff. So welcome, Chris Cinder, to our show. How you been, buddy?
Hey, how's it going? Good to be here.
Yeah, no, it's a great morning. How about you?
I'm doing fine. I'm just keeping busy.
So are you at home crafting right now and making art?
Yeah, yeah. The back bedroom is more or less the studio space, and it's a privilege to work from home. Honestly, been doing so for a few years, and over the last year and a half or so of our global event, it's been pretty nice being able to continue working.
Yes, and you work in a variety of mediums. I mean, you've got your paintings up here behind me.
Yep,
You've got the various size Hakobots
yep,
here, which are wonderful. You guys can see, let's give a little taste here. These
yep.
are the general size, but then you've branched out and done some of these guys back here. That one is by far my favorite, by the way.
Thank you.
Do we have a name for that one?
That is Alpha One. He's one of the original characters I put together when I started doing robot paintings. Which actually that particular form of him I use as a studio model to get the right lighting and colors and everything that go into the composition.
Interesting. So, well, you didn't start with these guys. These came later. It was the paintings that were first, right?
Well, it's kind of simultaneous. I was taking some more art classes because any opportunity I can to get back into a learning studio, I try to. And one of the things we were focusing on was how shadow changes color. And so as part of our class lesson, we were to take an object and paint it up in one color and then repaint it onto a canvas using the shadows that we could find. And I got bored with the object I had after a while, so I grabbed a couple of bits of cardboard and made a robot and painted him up red and silver and used him, and he just became a fixture on the studio desk. And after a while I gave him a name and then started building a story around him. So the robot kind of came first, but at the same time it was part of the painting process.
Okay. Now, so going back a little bit here, just so we can get to know you a little better, because we see you at
Sure.
all of our events. We see stuff on the wall, but they don't really have, or they haven't had a chance to really get to know you. You're talking about going to school and taking art classes. Was art something that you've always done, or is this something that you had an affinity for and maybe went to school?
Yeah, actually, I'd have to say I more or less became aware of making crafts and making art about the time I discovered that brown crayons did not taste like chocolate. So
There's only one way to find out.
yeah, there is, honestly. Yeah. But yeah, my parents were really big into hobby crafting. My mom and dad both built models. My dad focused more on balsa wood kits. My mom more on plastic battleships and cars. And she also did ceramics. And then, so there was always something on the dining table as a craft or an art project. My dad got me into pastels, at first oils, because they're surprisingly a lot less messy than the chalk pastels. And he just took me through the gamut of mediums that he was familiar with, and then we started exploring. And later on, in high school, when you more or less get to pick your curriculum, I just grabbed every art class I could find, and then that just became a habit that I pursued throughout my college years. And even now, I peruse YouTube and look for it, just about any crafting video I can find. Anything that could teach me something I haven't already learned or refine an idea that I already have.
So your dad, he was an artist too, then? It wasn't just modeling?
Yeah, he did mostly oils. And it was like they were small paintings. And I think more like they were just, I think he did it more just to kind of like break out of the zone kind of situation. I don't know. It was just something that's always, it's kind of like asking a fish why they swim. It's just, that's the old analogy there. Our family has just always had our hands busy making something. So
and not only just making something, this also led to some wargaming,
yes,
which
lots of
I know you've
gaming.
been
Yeah.
into for a while, and I've played some 40K with you. And when did you guys get into that? Because you and your brother played pretty heavily when you were young, right?
Oh yeah. My brother and I started off with Rogue Trader, which was the first edition Warhammer 40,000 rules, and he got introduced to it through a buddy of his that he was roommating with, and we would play, throughout the house. It was the usual towels, blankets, books, boxes, anything that represents other than a flat surface. And we played a lot of really small force skirmish games, like maybe like 8 miniatures a piece. What drew me further into the hobby was in the Rogue Trader rulebook. There were systems where you could actually build your own tanks, walkers, and things like that, and you can roll stats for them, and just like making a character in D&D. So that's I was kind of disappointed when they took that out of the game. The GW went into more formal models with their actual balanced stats.
But were you crafting some of those unique things
Yes,
back even
yeah.
back in the day? Okay, so I thought you must have.
I made the deodorant stick hover tank like everybody else did off that White Dwarf article. I was buying Bell Huey helicopter kits and mashing them up to make walkers, and I didn't ever get my hands on any Zoids because even in the mid 80s they were hard to find because they were so popular amongst collectors. But I actually bought one of my first Gundam kits, which is my other greatest passion aside from the GW or tabletop gaming. I grabbed one of the Gundam kits because I saw a lot of elements in there that I said, hey, I can kit bash this into something. And kit bashing had been a thing for me since I was, since I was in grade school.
Before we go on, because that is actually an extremely creative thing.
Yeah.
Can you tell them what kit bashing is? So for those who
well, you take any number of model kits or toys or any objects really, and you break them down into some component parts, and then you rearrange them and combine them with other objects, and that's basically what it is. Kit bashing originated in the model kit crafting hobby space. And so it's like you take an M1 Abrams tank and you combine it with, say, a Napoleonic artillery piece. So you got this tank rolling around on, wheels that are like way out of scale for it. And it's just a way to either make something that isn't available in the market, or to just make something that's creative and fun to look at, an art object, as they would call it, something that sits on your shelf and just brings amusement.
And you paint them all too. So this is everything that your hobbies are also your work.
Pretty much, yeah. Like I said, I feel pretty lucky, being able to pursue a passion that other people enjoy the results of.
That's very true. And then it leads to all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, that was you at a younger age. As you got older, when did you start actively pursuing being an artist and getting stuff on the walls? Because I can't remember a time here at Empires where you weren't with us, but there had to have been one.
Yeah, there was actually, as a selling artist, because I try to avoid the word professional, because that always, to me, that involves year-long contracts working with big companies or studios. But as a selling artist, it's been part of my art experience since grade school. I would draw pictures of the Peanuts and Star Trek characters for milk money, basically. Or if I was, because I was into trading cards also. We did a lot of Star Wars trading cards, and sometimes I didn't have the card they wanted. So I actually drew, a picture of a Star Wars scene or something like that, and said, would you trade your card for this? And they're like, yeah, I'll take that. I'll do that. So, but actually getting on the gallery walls and shop walls, that didn't really start happening, I think till about the 2000s. And it was my wife, Jeanette, who found the call to artists for Second Saturday just when it was like really starting to, reach its pinnacle. And I ended up showing some pieces at a photography studio called Great Pond Photography. And I think he's operating now out of the Bay Area with a partner of his. And we did one night shows on Saturday night. We would set up and break down the same day. So I learned how to install super fast. I made sure that my work was, prepared to hang, and I tried to make sure I had little, name cards and everything for it. But those first, dozen or so shows that I did was where I got my foothold into the idea of, presenting to the public for profit or for sale. And then I ended up showing at the old Shiny Nickel Gallery, Sideshow Studios and Gallery, which was a tattoo shop down Freeport. I have been at Art Toys. She's now moved out of the city. And I've been on your walls a few times. But yeah, it was, I'd say, the early 2000s, the Second Saturday art scene, just, doing pop-up shows at any shop that would have me.
Yeah, the Second Saturday thing was a huge hit here in
South. And then from what I understand, it still kind of keeps going. It's been a little bit subdued, obviously, because, health concerns and things. But they're still doing events. They still do some call to artists. I haven't reached out into that field recently, but been feeling like it's time to make a return. It'd be kind of fun to get back into it.
Yeah, things are starting to open up a little more. I even read something in the paper today talking about Sacramento potentially lifting the mask mandates again. So people may be more willing to go out and experience these things.
Yeah, that'd be fun to see some smiling faces for a change.
Yes, I've forgotten what so many people look like. It is ridiculous. So
this is
kind of nice because every time I've seen you,
it's been the mask. Yeah,
it's completely different. I have customers in here I've never even seen the face of, so this is going to be great.
Wow! Yeah,
and of course we got these. One thing that was really cute is these robots. They're prominent in your work.
Yes.
And I was talking to a little kid, and he was all about that one, but he wasn't going to touch it. And I said, oh yeah, did you see? He's that same robots in other pictures. And he looked up, and he goes, no, he's not. What are you talking about? And he goes, that one's got a green eye, that one's got a blue eye, that one's got he's pointing out. I'm like, oh my god, this 8-year-old just schooled me on your art. Now then I started looking at them all, and I'm like, yeah, they're all different. Are there any reoccurring ones that pop up, or do you like to do different ones all the time?
Well, with the Alpha 1 robot, he or she, I've yet to decide. I don't think it really matters. The eye color does change on the Alpha bot. It ranges anywhere from blue to green. I've even done some like golden, yellowy kind of colors. And it's more of a change in aesthetics. It's just a way to color has a lot of influence on how we react to things. So, green eyes will cause a person to react a certain way. Blue eyes will cause a person to react a certain way. And I play a lot with color in the emotional context of the piece. If I have, a lot of people associate the hero aspect with blue eyes. I mean, we have Batman, we have Superman, we have Peter Parker, we have Tony Stark. So when there's a heroic, feeling I want to portray in a comic book sense, because a lot of my work does draw heavily from the comic book aesthetic, I've studied that and I watch it. Green-eyed individuals tend to be more thoughtful, more I don't want to say like intimate, but there seems to be more of a closer personal connection between when it comes to the color green. People have a more, well, I guess it's kind of like, because we have an affinity towards green things. We like trees, we like grass. Most people think of summer and spring days as being barefoot and a freshly cut lawn. And then of course, the yellow and the gold eyes is more about mystery and intrigue or mysticisms or magic, and things like that. And then of course I've done some where they're just basically just a black pupil and the white. That's to accentuate the sensation of excitement or alertness, things like that.
Okay, nice. So
So
it's not just randomly slapping a color on; it's given some
not really, not really. I did
yeah.
do a series of Alphabot paintings where literally set up about half a dozen or so random tables, where I rolled a couple of D6s to determine, themes and poses and color schemes and composition, like, is he foreground, midground, background kind of stuff, upper, lower, bottom, I did do a series of those randomly generated pieces, and I was like, it's kind of not really random because there would be all things I would choose anyway. I just let the
Put
dice
the
choose for
pieces
me.
together. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. There's nothing wrong with that. That's kind of fun
Yeah.
actually to mix it up a little bit. And then let's see what's.
Oh yeah, I do a story. Yeah, pretty much every piece when I do a run of pieces over say a year, if you put them all together, you will see an evolving narrative, and not always in chronological order. So you kind of like you might have a large piece which actually only represents a really minor moment in the story, and you might have a bunch of smaller pieces that, when grouped together, you will see there's an interaction with the characters or the settings. Um,
Interesting.
the pieces behind you, the rocket one is actually part of the Rocket Rangers line that I did many years back, and I brought it back in for that particular piece. And there's a narrative that goes on. It's called the iBots. Yeah, it's that. Yeah, with the red and the yellow rockets, and the iBot next to it, which is that large looming eye with the Cthulhu-like tentacles.
There we go.
Yeah, that'll be there. You see an Alphabot there, confronting it. Those two pieces are part of the Sidelands story, which is the Battle of the iBots, which is not necessarily an invading force, but a returning force to their universe. And having that kind of backstory helps inform my decisions in what I'm going to put on canvas or what I'm going to sculpt out of cardstock and plastic.
Okay, all right, that is interesting actually. And what's this? Art book.
When does the art book due out? I don't know. I keep thinking about possibly collecting a bunch of these pieces together, finding a nice print-on-demand publisher who can present something that's affordable and comprehensive. But I have been very slowly working on a coloring book. I have a few sheets.
Perfect.
I got about a dozen sheets together. My target is to do a 40-page coloring book. And then, like I said, working, either doing my own print-on-demand thing or maybe just releasing the sheets as, giveaways at shows or something like that. I don't know.
A nice little coloring book, a print version would be really great. Like that would be good.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with coloring books, and I think they're just fantastic.
And then we've got RA Comics Direct right there in Elk Grove, which is great because you can actually go out and talk to them and show
cool.
examples or do any of that kind of stuff.
KDP, yeah. So, Kindle Digital Publishing.
And then, Kindle as well. So, no, you've got tons of options. But yeah, I'm glad to hear you're still working. We have the stuff up here for the rest of the month, everybody. Check them out when you're in. Check out the Hucklebots. There's still a few little ones left. And, of course, you want to follow Chris on Instagram, which is just Chris Cinder, which is you're one of the lucky ones who got your actual name.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Hey, Kyron, what's going on there, sir?
Hey, Kyron.
And and then of course, as things get back to normal, you will see Chris more here, and of course more around town, and possibly some second Saturdays.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate it. I appreciate you having the stuff on the wall, and of course, all the stuff that you do for us during the events and other things like that. And of course, my minis.
Yes. I have a space all set up for the next batch.
that is perfect. I will get them to you ASAP.
And I will be posting that progress on Instagram as well, if you'd like to, if that's okay with you.
Oh, yes, of course. And Chris said, Kyron said you made him an amazing Zob.
Oh, that's right, the Zob. Yeah, or Saw. Sorry, I can never get the pronunciation right.
What did you make? Oh, it was the lightning.
It was the character, the lightning wielder.
Right.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, I do on occasion do some custom requests. Emperor Nero is is my most recent request that I've done. Do you have one still laying around? Here we go. Yes.
The size of that thing. Look, he can. He's even bigger than that guy right there.
Oh yeah, he could definitely take on Alpha. Alpha's running away, if you can notice.
Yes. So yeah, if you guys have commissions, this is the man right here. So check out his Instagram, find out more about him, message him, and yes, it is huge, I know, and just hit him up and see how he's doing. Thank you very much for joining us, Chris, and
Thank you.
See you in the shop.
Yep.